Hello, and welcome to Studio 415. On today's show, you'll hear how conflict between NACS parents and the NACS school board has changed the way the board members meet. You'll see the work that is being done to prepare for the upcoming production of Shrek the Musical, and you'll be introduced to one of the new principals at Carroll High School. All that and more coming up next.
And it's a lot of fun to just be working on all this stuff together.
It's a lot of hard work, so it's nice to have people come and be like, this is your goat, and I'll be like, yup.
What is the point behind any of this?
Welcome to Studio 415. I'm Landon Wallace. Once a formality that nearly nobody knew about, NACS school board meetings have become the talk of Northwest Allen County. In my story, I take a look at these controversial meetings and the recent changes the meetings have gone through. With masks made optional to begin the school year, tensions had begun to decline around the NACS community, especially at school board meetings. But a rise in quarantines and COVID absences have forced a change at NACS to make masks mandated. This has led to school board meetings being the center of protests. NACS Superintendent Chris Himsel explains why the mandate was kept.
Specifically, over the last 3 weeks, we've only had 20 students quarantined. If we had been mask optional, we would have had over 500.
Many concerned parents aren't fans of the masks, and in protests of the controversial mandates, they have shown up at school board meetings to voice their criticisms of the school board. You may have seen this same group at the corner of Carroll and Bethel or in front of Maple Creek, where they hold protests on days without meetings. When asked why he believes mask wearing should be made optional, group leader and former NACS parent Travis Striggle believes his freedoms have been robbed from him.
Well, everybody in this country should be able to make their own decisions, right? I mean, it used to be a free country. We used to be able to do, whatever we wanted as long as it was legal, right? But now it seems like things have changed dramatically just in the past year and a half, where now we don't have the choice, the liberty to make these decisions all by ourselves. I got a problem with that.
At the October 13th board meeting, which was held virtually on Zoom, there were fierce debates for and against the mandate. Most notably, board members Kent Summer and Steve Barkus pleaded their case to the other board members against the mandate. However, board members Elizabeth Hathaway, Ronald Felger, and Christy Schlatter all sided with Dr. Himsel's recommendation, as well as the Allen County Department of Health. The split vote extended the mandate through the end of the first semester. Himsel says that he relies on the help of healthcare workers.
That's why we continue to consult with those who specialize in healthcare. That's not my specialty. That's not the specialty of any of the other administrators or many of the teachers in our school corporation, and that's why we rely on the medical professionals to help lead us through the medical questions.
Despite Himsel and the Allen County Department of Health's recommendations, some parents are still skeptical behind the legitimacy of these concerns.
Open their eyes and see the truth that this virus is not killing kids, they're not susceptible, and they're not transmitting the virus. So at this point, what is the point behind any of this? I'll tell you what it is. It's all this right here.
The next board meeting will be on November 8th. For Studio 415, I'm Landon Wallace. Every year, Carroll High School has an annual musical production put on by the Drama and Musical Department. And this year, they took a trip to the swamp. Studio 415 reporter Evan Schatz reviews what making a production is like.
Thanks, Landon. If you stay after school and pass by the large auditorium, you may notice some singing and acting going on inside. Well, that's because the production team is working on Shrek the Musical. And recently, I got to sit down with the director and hung out with many cast and crew members to see a show come to life and a community form all around it.
That's how it should be.
This past summer, the theater and musical production departments came together and decided on Shrek the Musical, which is about an ogre and his donkey friend trying to save his swamp and a princess from an evil king. With its mass popularity, many students ranging from show choir kids to even athletes come in and audition for the show, hoping to get a good part. After the auditions comes the long process of getting the best people to put on the best show. Theater arts teacher and director of this year's musical, Steve Pearson, describes the process of how the casting works and how it can be difficult to get everyone involved.
We do a week of auditions for the most part, and then we get together, and it takes us a few days because we'll go home and sleep on it. Like, we'll cast it the day we have it, and then we'll come back and go and make some changes.
During practices and rehearsals, Pearson points out that acting outweighs singing, although choir teachers Jill Duran and Eric Smead will help out with the singing portion. The team works through Acts 1 and 2 until they add the band into the mix, where they work to stay on pace with the show. Around a week before the show is what is known as Tech Week, where the tech directors and assistants come together to add in the music and sound effects. However, with so much to accomplish, COVID is still a hot issue that could set things out of motion. While Pearson has joked that he, Duran, and Smead may play roles themselves, including the big ones, moving certain parts around to replace others does not work as efficiently. In addition, when a crisis like this does emerge, it will become a question of what parts can help move the play and get it from start to finish at showtime.
Shrek is not here, so really the next big role is Donkey. So let's move Donkey to Shrek. It doesn't work like that because all these people know their parts. So now it's a matter of, in a few days, who can get us from A to B in the play and still relatively sing it and still relatively act it.
Even with the extra circumstances, everyone still has a fun time on stage during rehearsals, even if they sometimes have to wait and do other schoolwork before they're seen. The highest role in the play is Shrek himself, played by Caleb Cox. He explains that there are some bigger responsibilities like lines, and the songs tend to be a bit higher. But he is always excited to face the challenges ahead and be more connected with others.
The biggest responsibility for me, I feel like, is just the singing because, I mean, the songs are a little higher than what I'm used to because I'm a baritone, but I like a challenge, so it's pretty fun.
And even though this may be her first year behind the scenes, crew member Emma Hauser still enjoys setting up the stage and helping to create a sense of community for others.
It's pretty exciting to be here and to do all this stuff with everyone. It's a great sense of community, and it's a lot of fun to just be working on all this stuff together.
The members of the musical will be continuing their practices with the help of Pearson, Duran, and Smead until showtime arrives. If you would like to come out and support your peers, the production team, and for all the work they have put in, make sure to stop by from November 18th through the 21st right here at the large auditorium here at CHS. From a land far, far away, and for Studio 415, I'm Evan Schatz.
Some of you might have noticed many new faces walking around the halls of Carroll this year. Studio 415 reporter Jacob Hartman was able to speak with one of the new principals and ask him about his new job here.
For those who don't know, the job of the assistant principal is mainly just working with seniors to get ready for the future and working with a dual credit program. Recently, Carroll High School hired a new person to be assistant principal, with that being Cleve Mullion. Mullion says he actually had a few other jobs before this one. His last two jobs before coming here were as a guidance counselor at Portage Middle School and as the assistant principal of curriculum and instruction and director of guidance at Northrop High School. Mullion says he saw coming to Carroll High School as an opportunity to work in its own community and give back to the community around him.
I just like being out and about, talking with students. At the beginning of the year, kind of with COVID, I'd like to be in the classrooms more than I have been, but haven't been able to.
Ever since Mullion started working here at the beginning of the year, he says that he has been treated well by any students and teachers that he has interacted with so far. Mullion says that his two sons, one of who graduated from here and one who was still a senior here, are good with him being the assistant principal here.
Some of the students that he's friends with that have been over and hung out and that kind of stuff, obviously we have a different way that we talk with each other and hang out here and how we communicate, but it's been good. They've been very, very supportive.
Even though Mullion had just started working at Carroll High School this year, he has already met quite a few students here.
So it's just been an awesome opportunity to just work alongside him, especially in student council.
Mr. Mullion, he tends to try to say hi to the students in the hallways. He's also in charge of the bus duties, so every time that I'm driving out, I see him wave at me because he knows my car.
I think Mr. Mullion is great. I think he's a good addition to our Carroll body. I love the way that he's just present in everything that he does.
For those who would like to get in contact with Mullion, you can visit his office in Student Services, find him in the hallways or in the commons, or at door 13, greeting students before school. You could also email him.
Mullion would like everyone to know
that his door is always open to students who would like to talk with him. For Studio 415, I'm Jacob Hartman.
Most Carroll High School students are unaware that some of their peers live different lives than they do. Studio 415 reporter Lennon Ormiston takes a look into the interesting life of one student.
Most CHS students are used to living in neighborhoods, suburbs, and cities. Life for many of us is simple, and we only have to care for our family and friends. One student at CHS lives a life that requires much more sacrifice and time.
CHS junior Gwen Brubaker has always had the experience of growing up on a farm. Brubaker takes care of two main livestock at her family's farm, cattle and goats.
We always had animals growing up, like we've always had cows, but our neighbor actually is the one who had goats, so she's the one who got us started on goats. So livestock have always been a large part of my life.
Unlike many students at CHS, Brubaker has a job of balancing her school life with her farm life. In the process, she must complete a multitude of specific chores, such as preparing hay, grain, and water for each animal, as well as milking her goats, all to ensure each of her animals are properly taken care of.
We wake up early and the animals eat breakfast before I do. In the summer, I don't do normal summer things. I don't sleep in. I have to wake up and take care of the animals. By then we have goats that are in milk, so I have to milk the goats. Little farm girl activities, you know.
Each year, Brubaker enjoys the new animals that are born on her farm and looks forward to working and taking care of them throughout the year.
It's always really fun just getting new animals every year to work with for the fair. Each year we have goats born and cattle born here. So it's just fun getting to see what will come next for our project.
All of Brubaker's hard work is eventually presented in the Allen County 4-H Fair, which she is excited to participate in each year. Each summer, the Allen County 4-H Fair is held during late July and consists of rides, food, and Brubaker's animals. During the fair, Brubaker works hard to present her livestock to two panels of judges. The first panel of judges judge based off the animal's appearance. However, the second panel of judges judge on showmanship. Brubaker describes showmanship as how the handler presents the animal and how knowledgeable the handler is on their animal. At the end of the fair, all the top contestants are presented with a variety of awards.
We've had multiple grand champion goats and cattle and reserve champions too, but obviously those don't seem as glamorous, but actually sometimes they are.
Setting Brubaker's many awards aside, at the end of the day, she appreciates the people that come to see her and her animals, as well as seeing all her hard work pay off.
It's so much fun. I love seeing people from school come out and see my animals, because most people kind of know I have goats, but they don't know maybe that I have a bunch of cows here too. It's just fun to show off all the animals. It's a lot of hard work, so it's nice to have people come and be like, this is your goat? And I'll be like, yup, that's my goat.
For Studio 415, I'm Lennon Ormiston.
One of the issues that students get upset about the most is the Carroll High School dress code. Studio 415 reporter Malachi Wilkins spoke with administrators about the rules and how students feel about them.
Carroll High School's dress code hasn't been changed since 2019, and the students are beginning to show discontent with it. Many students believe that the dress code is not as equal as the school strives to achieve. In the Carroll High School student handbook, it says, quote, "Students are expected to wear their clothing and manage their appearance in a manner that is neither disruptive nor distracting to the school's environment and its purpose." Many students believe that Carroll's dress code is unfair, including sophomore Gavin Neeser.
I feel like it's a lot more frequent towards girls who get dress code, and I feel like that's unfair.
Some students at Carroll are getting frustrated and have begun to take action by leaving posters in the restrooms and other forms of protest against the dress code. Though students may not like it, Assistant Principal Tanya Pickett suggests the idea of a school uniform and the good things that it would bring.
It'd be nice if we had a school uniform. I think that would eliminate a lot of the guesswork about things. But honestly, if you just come with reasonable clothes on, you should be fine here. I think that's going to happen, no. I mean, we want to give you guys some freedom of what you're wearing, but it would be certainly less guesswork for everybody involved.
Junior Frankie Fisher, who leads in the struggle against the dress code, claims that it's restricting the students' freedoms.
One of the main things about uniforms, if the school decides to go with a skirt and short policy, that's really targeting two genders, and if you go off of someone's biological gender, it can be really hard.
Another student, freshman Rain Jackson, explains what the dress code means for them.
It's usually always discriminating against women and how they wear clothing and their shoulders and how they're distracting, or their knees or their thighs.
In defense of the school's dress code, Principal Brandon Benning claims that it was made with the intent to be as equal as possible.
But in the scheme of what we're trying to accomplish, I do believe it's a pretty good attempt at being an equitable dress code. You know, the short rule can apply to male and female, and the skirt rule can apply to male or female.
Those students have voiced their complaints. Administration has shown no intention of changing the school's dress code. From Studio 415, I'm Malachi Wilkins.
That's all we have for today. Thanks for watching. If you have a story idea, please let us know. For all of us here at Studio 415, have a great day, Carroll.
Sunny days and friendly smiles, walk the halls with me. Studio